Frank Meltke is the CEO of Contraco, a digital transformation consultancy he's led since 1998 across every major wave from search to AI, advising global brands on omni-channel personalization and enterprise change. With that, Frank, we're thrilled to have you at the live event today, and I am very much looking forward to hearing your presentation.
Great for having me. Let's jump into the presentation right away. Good morning. In the world of transformation, we often go hunting for silver bullets. That one piece of technology that will solve every structural problem in an instant. Today, I want to go beyond that cliché. As mentioned, my name is Frank. I'm with Contraco Management Consulting. At Contraco, we have spent 28 years watching waves of technology crash against the shores of corporate reality. Today, we are going to talk about why AI projects, despite the billions in investment, are currently failing at staggering rate. To understand the situation, we need to go back to 1998. The internet wave was hitting at that time just as the AI wave is hitting now. The symptoms are pretty much identical. A frantic rush to deploy, total skipping of diagnostics, and eventually the same question, why this fail? We are seeing a generation of leaders making exact same mistakes their predecessors made nearly 30 years ago. We are prioritizing speed of deployment over the quality of the solution. And that's maybe not a good thing to do. Talk a little bit about the fear of missing out. Friedrich Nietzsche gave us the answer. He noted that insanity is rare in individuals, but in groups, parties, entire epochs, it is the rule. We are in an epoch of groupthink. The insanity here is the belief that technology itself is the solution. It isn't. Technology is a multiplier. If you multiply a broken organizational process by AI, you simply get a broken process that happens at light speed. 90. Let's look at the cold hard number. According to the 2025 MIT State of AI in Business report, 95% of organizations are seeing zero, I repeat, zero measurable impact on their P&L. Imagine that billions spent for zero bottom line gain. This is the perception paradox. We are sacrificing quality for the sake of efficiency. And in doing so, we are creating a massive disconnect between what the board thinks is happening and what the consumers are actually experiencing. This gap is a ticking time bomb, in my humble opinion, for brands. 85% of companies believe their AI-improved service is a success. But the customers, 64% say they feel frustrated or fobbed off. This is what I call the race to the bottom. When you use AI to produce high quantity, generic output, you aren't building value. You are eroding the very customer loyalty that sustains your margin. You are trading your brand identity for a slight reduction in headcount. Headcount cost? P&L? Let's talk a little bit about the knowledge. We are seeing a 20% drop in entry-level hiring because firms think AI can do junior work. But junior work is how you train senior leaders. By removing such roles, we are creating leadership depth. technology tapped, leadership tapped. We are losing human wisdom, the hands-on experience and cultural nuance that AI simply cannot replicate. This is why we are seeing learning hubs emerge, spaces where AI is banned, just so humans can still learn how to think critically. Let's look from a strategic point of view to that problem for a little while. Strategic divergence. 95% treat AI as a commodity replacement. They use the same foundation models as their competitors and wonder why they have no brand differentiation. The 5%, the success group, treat AI as a signal booster. They focus on proprietary data, deep integration, and solving the hard problems that a generic bot can't touch. They use AI to augment human expertise, not to replace it. What are the drivers of that negative ROI? And for anyone who think the costs are only in the software, look at the infrastructure. Fragility leads to downtime that can exceed $300,000 per hour in large enterprises. More than half of engineering capacity is now being consumed by maintenance, the entropy tax of AI, rather than innovation. After 28 years in the field, I can tell you that the pattern is remarkably consistent across every industry and every geography. We see the same root causes, whether we are looking at the dot-com bubble or the current AI frenzy. We have to accept three fundamental truths. First, technology is never the core problem. Second, the organization, the structure, the culture, the process is the core problem. And third, the humans inside that organization are the only viable solution. We keep trying to solve biological and organizational friction with silicon, but you cannot automate your way out of a cultural deficit. What separates success from an expensive experiment? How do you move into that top 5%? How do you ensure your project becomes success rather than just an expensive experiment? It requires three tactical shifts in your leadership approach. Diagnose before you prescribe. Stop buying tools and then looking for problems to solve with them. Identify the friction first. Add humanity to your AI. Do not replace it. Use the technology as a signal booster to make your experts better, not as a way to phase them out. Build for adoption, not just deployment. Any IT team can deploy a piece of software. Only a leader can build the trust and the processes required for an organization to actually adopt it. Success isn't found in the line of code. It's found in how the code changes the way your people work. Technology is never the core problem. The organization is. Success only follows when you diagnose before you prescribe and build for human adoption, not just technical deployment. I leave you with one final question. Before you spend another dollar on AI, is this technology magnifying your people's wisdom, or is it just automating their absence? The end.
Fantastic, Frank. I think you hit on a lot of details that many are missing, in the whole view of integrating AI into their organizations. And I think a lot of listeners today are probably saying to themselves, like you said, we've launched all of these different AI projects over the last year or two, and we're not seeing traction on any of them. And what do you say to an executive like that as to how they need to think about where they're at?
To be honest to themselves, do they understand what AI means? And if you have a pretty good understanding, then you will first identify a problem and then a technology to solve it. But if you are too proud of yourself and you are not committing to, sorry, that's not my teapot, I don't understand what AI means, then you should look for a different path in your career.
So a lot of organizations see AI as a means to an end, but I think from what you're suggesting, and especially with that study from MIT, I think it's really more of a tool to be used by your team, not to replace your team, but to assist your team. Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely. You could use any other technology like Microsoft Excel for sheets. If you have a problem with calculation, you are using a tool like Microsoft Excel for solving that problem. But if you have bad data, results in that sheet will be bad. And it's very similar to AI, but with a bigger scale. You need a problem you can solve with that technology. You can't use a hammer to solve a problem. So find the right tool for the right problem, or the right problem and then look out for the right tool.
So when you're working with clients, helping them identify those right problems to tackle, where do you begin?
The most important thing for a successful project is that A, the problem is real, and B, that you have the data needed to solve that problem. And if, sorry for my French, shit in, shit out, if you don't
Right.
have the right data, then no AI in the world can solve that problem. Second, do it step by step. I had currently a client who has still mainframe in place. It's in more than 60 countries on this planet. Has a lot of jurisdiction and supervision, name it China, US, Europe, and so on and so forth. And the idea was AI is the silver bullet. We can solve all problems. We get rid of the mainframe, but that's not how AI works. You need to do that step by step, and please don't expect too much out of a not clearly identified problem. So where do we start? Like any other consultant, we try to understand the problem, and then we discuss the problem with our client before we are trying to resolve with AI a problem. And we set clear expectations. What is success? What isn't success? We talk a lot about failure culture. You can't get fired if you are using this new kind of technology. You need to have your room to try and to come to results. And only if the culture within the company is right, then that project will succeed.
Well, for everyone that's listening in live, Frank will be joining us on our next Q&A panel coming up in just a few minutes. In front of you, you have a Q&A box. Type in your questions, and we'll do our best to get to as many of those as we can on the next panel coming up in just a few minutes.